Poconos Tuesday night. We are going to talk all kinds of things Thanksgiving because the holidays are coming at us fast and furious. But first, we want to thank our sponsor, brokersrealty.com. If you're going to buy, sell, rent, or auction off your property, make sure you check them out. Brokersrealty.com of Stroudsburg has some great realtors. One of them is our very own Sarah Smith Katz. And even though she's super, super busy, she still has time for you. So make sure to reach out to her and ask her how she can help you either sell your house or buy one here because it's a real challenge right now and she's up for it. So hi Sarah, how you doing?
Hi, Holly. I'm doing well. Thank you. Yes, it is definitely a little nippy in the Poconos. I know it's snowing in various areas, so I have a feeling that the ski slopes are going to be busy pretty soon, and we're going to have, folks coming in enjoying all of those wonderful snowy things that we do. Hi, Leah.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. I have one of your favorites here, a freshly baked pumpkin pie. And I purposely did it very badly because I baked like most people bake. Not that people bake bad, but I made some baking mistakes. And I'm going to show you that even when that happens, it's okay. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks to save that pie and not panic. I don't care if you buy a store-bought pie. You can also use these things that I'm going to show you. I used all the traditional store-bought ingredients and I followed the instructions right on the can, but I did a couple of things on purpose so that I could show you how to fix the most common mistakes that happen during pie baking season. I love pie baking season. Like I said, I think it was our last show. I like to do cookies for Christmas. I just think that it's a cookie holiday. So primarily for Thanksgiving, there's an exception or request. It's okay. I primarily do pies. So I'm going to show you guys how you could be rock stars with just basic store-bought, the already made dough. I did not use pumpkin pie in a can. I did use pie filling and, pumpkin and the sweetened condensed milk, just so people can, this does not have to be fancy and you can go out to just about any grocery store, any big box store and get the ingredients for this.
Right.
And people are thankful for it, really, honestly. And we talked about this last week is that if you are not a pie person, a pie baker, and it's not something you normally do, I would go ahead and practice. If you're going to go ahead and make everything from scratch, I would go ahead and do a test run, at least one. If you are like a person that does it a lot, this would be the time. If you're going to freeze your dough, you could get that ready now. We're almost 2 weeks. Well, actually not even 2 weeks out. You could go ahead now and Holly, we have one, this is Tuesday. We have one more Tuesday before, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I was getting my days mixed up. I was thinking that Thanksgiving was next Tuesday. It's like next Thursday. So now if you are going to make your dough, you can go ahead and do that now so that you don't have to be rushing. So then one day next week or over the weekend, you could make the pies. Of course, there's some pies that'll freeze well, some that won't. And you want to get those lists together. Obviously, you're getting your ingredients. I hope you're shopping for some things. Like Holly said last week, you're getting your list out, your flyers out, you're following the sales, you're getting your staple items. You don't want to buy too much, you don't want to buy too little, you don't want to be caught on on Thanksgiving Day without that cranberry sauce if that's important to you. Sarah, what is something that you just cannot have Thanksgiving without? What is the one thing that if you were like, oh my gosh, we forgot XYZ and the stores are closed, what would that be?
Well, definitely you mentioned the cranberry sauce. So without the jellied cranberry sauce, I don't think that turkey just is the same.
It's just not the same, right?
For me, stuffing is the big thing. It's got to be really good stuffing. So we're going to talk a little bit about how I make stuffing later on. But always staples that I put in my cart: a bag of onions, a bag of carrots.
Cool thing about the jellied cranberry sauce is you can buy those things way ahead of time.
Way ahead of time.
Right.
So
we talked about last week about how we always have that relish dish. My husband called mom and said, don't buy black olives because I kept telling him to buy them, and then he saw a 6-pack. So now we have tons of black olives. So nobody has to buy the black olives for the tray, but you can get the gherkins, the pickles, and do all that kind of stuff. Does anybody our Nana used to do the celery with the cream cheese. Does anybody out there in our audience like to do that? that was like a big thing. That was like a mid-century modern sort of Betty Crocker, good housekeeping thing.
We
to do.
talked
The
about
cello-
that. I'm gonna bring the pear halves with the mayonnaise.
Oh, no,
Yes.
no, you're not.
Telling you, we
You
have
will
that
not
is like,
darken that table, that beautiful.
I think that is a great food challenge.
That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Everybody has to take one bite and see how they get through it.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I like pears and I like mayonnaise. Not too sure I like them together. Holly, what on Thanksgiving Day, if you were like, oh no, I forgot to get, what would that fill in that blank? What would just kind of ruin?
Well, I'll tell you what ruins it for my husband. When you have a Thanksgiving dinner and there's no gravy.
Oh,
I'm not a gravy person, so for me, like if
Yeah.
I forget it, I could care less.
Yeah,
But-
Jeff likes gravy. I'm not a gravy person. Of course, I'll make it. Yes, a lot of people they like to have the gravy. Rolls is another thing. Don't forget to get your rolls if you're not making them homemade. And those are things you can make like the day before. If you're going to make a Parker House roll or whatever, or make them in the morning, it's the
Yeah.
whole part is to not stress yourself out or have somebody simply bring them. We have people in our family that do not cook or bake. And that's one of the things that they bring. Do not forget or be afraid if people are coming to your Thanksgiving table or to your party or whatever you want to call it, that they bring something, right? It's only right to part and parcel those responsibilities out because it's a lot for one person, especially the host, because they're cleaning their house, they're getting their house. If they have people sleeping over, it's a lot. So you want to make sure. So, get your sales flyers out, get your turkey points. I don't know when they expire, because
I think it's the day before or the day after Thanksgiving.
but go before that though, because if you have the storage space, because there was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we went like the day before, or like 2 days before, and
They were-
they were out. So
Yep.
yeah, don't let it deceive you. They don't have unlimited quantities of turkeys and hams. I think Mom said she's going to do a ham. I'd be curious to know
That's exciting.
from
to
our
hear.
viewers who is watching tonight. What is your main dish? Are you turkey all the way? Do you do turkey and ham? Do you do an Italian dish maybe with a turkey? I want to know because I like to always know about how other people do these.
Because some people do a lasagna. I have heard
Yeah,
that.
I mean, we're not really Italian food people, we're not Italian food people, so we don't. I made homemade whipped cream, Sarah, just like you requested.
Yum.
I'm going to show you a fancy way to put this on because we're going to save this pie. The challenge is to save this pie. What I did, my crust went over the dish, it shrunk from the dish.
Mm-hmm.
The sugar in the condensed milk got a little brown. That's okay. It didn't burn. That's not burning, by the way. That is just the sugars
Brown.
up in there. There's some cracks in the pie. There's some inconsistencies and blemishes in the crust, but that's okay. I did it on purpose. I cooked it too close. I cooked it in my convection oven with the wire rack kind of in the middle, which is kind of a no-no, but I did it on purpose because I think that most people find themselves in these circumstances and then they're like, oh no, what am I going to do? But I'm going to show you something with a little trick. So instead of now you can get this out of the can. This is no judgment. This is just something that my family has always done. You can use a hand mixer to do it. If you have a KitchenAid in your kitchen, usually I take the heavy cream up to Mom's because I do it for last minute, like after when we're cleaning up from the dinner, then you make the whipped cream for the pies and you just throw the whipped cream and the powdered sugar or whatever you're going to put. I always like to put a little tiny pinch of salt in there, throw that into your the KitchenAid mixer and it's zip, zip, zip done, right? I
Right.
did this with a hand mixer. I pretty much have heavy cream all the time for different things. I have a star tip here. I don't know if you guys can see this. You can get this at any, baking supply, Michael's, online. If you don't want to, you can just snip the bottom of the bag and do dollops too.
Mhm.
Or you can also put this in, if you don't have a pastry bag, you can just go ahead and use a gallon size storage bag, poke a hole in the bottom of it and use it so you can zip it up. I like to put this in a cup. It's a lot easier to then pour it in. You put the bag sort of over the cup. This is a great thing for icing too. If you do icing, because the bag can be messy and you just go ahead and put the whipped cream inside. And we're just going to pipe this out. It will keep its form. You can also do this ahead of time. You can make your whipped cream a little bit ahead of time, not in the morning because it will flatten out. maybe like an hour or so before, or like how I do it usually. I take the heavy cream, the chilled heavy cream in the chilled bowl up to mom's. Then I whip, or I'll put her mixer bowl in the freezer, keep it nice and cold. Then when I'm ready, I'll go ahead and pull that out, make the whipped cream while everybody's kind of talking. Our family's a little bit, we space it out a little bit. Wouldn't you say, Hallie?
Oh,
we
yeah. We kind of gave up on the concept of appetizers a couple of years ago because we just don't seem to eat as much as we
We
used
just
to.
don't seem to eat as much. Exactly.
We don't. So we kind of gave up on the whole appetizer thing. So we do have a late dinner because we do have family members that have other obligations to go around earlier in the day. And usually desserts probably about 8 o'clock at night. So desserts definitely later for us than some people I think would be, but we do space it out because everybody take a deep breath and let things settle so that they never...
Louie, sorry, my cat just excuse me, are you coming to join me? I don't think so. So basically, I made all those mistakes. I mean, have you ever made a pie or a cake and you're like, oh no, what am I gonna do? I have company coming.
Got salt. Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna even worry about that.
I have cracked many a pumpkin pie over the years.
I said earlier that I used Pillsbury or whatever maker you want to make. I find Pillsbury to be the best. Some of the generic brands of the pie dough tend to be a little bit grainy, I guess is the right word, or sandy. I find Pillsbury to be the softest and the most pliable and the most easy. So I have some extra liner. I have my dough here flapping around. And I'm gonna roll this out, floured surface. You can do this on a counter, rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can use a bottle of wine to roll it out. And you're gonna use whatever, you don't even have to have Thanksgiving cookie cutters. I happen to have Thanksgiving cookie cutters because I collect cookie cutters and I happen to be a chef. I have a turkey here. I have a star. I have a moon. You literally can do any shape. Your guests will not care if it's not Mr. I think it's an apple, but it looks like a pumpkin. It can pass as a pumpkin. I have, it just fell into the pie. I have a squirrel. I think the squirrel is kind of fun. So for you guys, I did a couple different ones. Roll that dough out, floured surface. You're going to cut a couple of, and by the magic of television or Zoom, as we would say, for you, on parchment, I lined my cookie sheet with parchment paper. A great tip for when you put your parchment paper down, you spray the pan with a little bit of Pam spray or whatever your little spray, kitchen spray is. Put that down and it won't flap in the oven and it won't upset your crust or anything. And I went ahead and made a couple little shapes. I made some squirrels, I made some turkeys, and I made some leaves. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with these in a minute. So Holly, what Thanksgiving apparatus or goodies or plans do you have for the show tonight to show the audience?
Oh, I actually have a couple cocktails. A regular kind of fun cocktail. I have a couple ideas for cocktails if people are ready. So
I think we're ready. Well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cut a piece of the pie and then I'll show you. And then I'll show you what I'm gonna do with it. So you go ahead and talk about cocktails. I'll get the pie ready. I'll get my pie ready.
I'll tell you everybody something really simple. You need to have, if you're going to have parties at your home, you need to have a couple basic things. You don't need to go crazy to the liquor store and buy every single alcohol product that's out there. Red wine, white wine is usually good to have, and you can do a lot with it. So, you generally chill a white and you room temperature a red and you can decant it, and that's all great and wonderful. And if you like just plain old wine, go for it. But you can zhuzh up your wine very simply and make it into a spritzer. I did a red wine spritzer right here. Put it in a cute glass.
Spritzer or a spritzer?
A spritzer. So it's just red wine and sparkling water.
Oh, how cute is that?
With ice. And these glasses, like I bought all kinds of glasses for my liquor cabinet. And I got these are technically for like a daiquiri or oh my goodness, I can't even remember what they are. But,
like a martini or like.
Well, I have no. It's like for the more fruity drinks, like a daiquiri or yeah. You would put in something like this. So I use this instead of a wine glass because it's a little bit bigger, and you're not using as much wine, and you're adding a lot of water and ice, so you can use a little bit of a bigger glass. But all these glasses I'm showing you, I bought at the dollar store. So this is a dollar store glass, which is perfectly
You
fine.
know what, the nice thing about that is if God forbid somebody knocks it off and you're not like using a family heirloom.
It
if you have-
shatters, I go buy another one. So, this can be relatively inexpensive wine too. So you don't need to go out and buy like a $40 bottle. You can get like a $12 bottle and zhuzh it up with a little bit of sparkling. This has sparkling grape juice in it, along with the wine.
Say that when you make a mangria, when you make a sangria, that to not use top shelf wine, isn't that true? Because
I will tell you my sangria secret, and I don't want anybody to judge, but my favorite.
I eat my pumpkin pie. There's no judgment, okay?
No, nobody can judge on this one, but I got it out because I bought this the other day in I always keep for a holiday, if you're going to make a sangria, I think that you should do something a little sparkly. So I start with a white Moscato wine, and my friend Carlo Rossi put it in a really big jug like this.
If you're making it for a crowd, right?
So if you're making it for a party, like if you're making a Thanksgiving or a Christmas sangria, I would suggest you go over there. This is $16 for this giant bottle. And then you only have to add to it some fruit, some maybe fruit juices, a little sparkling, a little ice. For Christmas, cranberries would look beautiful in it. You put it in a nice decanter, a nice dispenser. They can be plastic. They're still pretty to put up there on your buffet. And you have drinks for the whole crowd.
Right.
Whole crowd. And then, you just have to get some of the other basics. Like I got Blake Shelton's vodka this week, something to try because we needed vodka in the house. So I was like, oh, we'll try Blake Shelton's. Make it fun. You don't have to go crazy. And then you have to remember too, you don't only have to have dinner drinks, you can have dessert drinks. So I made a dessert drink that would go very nicely with Aaliyah's pumpkin pie, actually. This is called a toasted almond. It's in a little rocks glass here. All this is Kahlua, amaretto, and cream.
Oh, okay.
You need absolutely, this is a toasted almond. And then if you made it with coffee, cream, and amaretto, it would be a Nutty Professor.
Oh, cute.
So if you have a little
any of those
leftover,
things, I mean, I guess it's kind of hard if you're non-alcoholic. Instead of doing the red wine, you could do like a cranberry juice, like a sparkling,
absolutely,
and add the garnish. And I guess for that, I guess you could just, I don't know what you would add to that. I guess you would just have coffee and cream.
I think you could you could use a little almond extract. Would get you to the same place. A little almond extract would give you the same flavor. And the Nutty Professor, I gotta say, the easiest way to do something like that is whenever you make a pot of coffee and you have extra, throw it in a pitcher, throw it in your fridge. It lasts a couple days.
Right.
So it's good for cold drinks then, because then you're not putting warm coffee into a cold drink. That's my little tip for that.
That would be really good with like a toasted marshmallow on top.
Oh, absolutely. You can garnish drinks any way that you, as crazy fun as you want to get. I mean, everybody's seen those Bloody Marys out there that have like a hamburger on top of them. You can go nuts.
Oh yeah, they put a slider. They put like a slider on top. Yeah.
You could put like a little gingerbread cookie on this.
Oh, that would be cute around the lid.
Put a cinnamon stick in it, and
you could rim it. It's so easy, guys, to rim any drink glass, whether it be for a coffee. You could do the coffee mugs ahead of time. You don't even have to have a lemon cracker. You can just a little bit of water around the rim, set it up. You could have cinnamon, nutmeg, some coarse sugar, some fun stuff on a plate. Rim your glass, pour your coffee in or your cocktail. I'm telling you, there's so many different ways to make your holiday fancy without like breaking the bank. A lot of these things that you can find, like Holly said, the dollar store, your big box store, if you have the space, pick up some of these things at the end of the season so that, like serving things and things like that. So you have a couple of things, in your arsenal that you can pull out. Like Holly has white dishes. So everything that under the sun,
everything matches.
You just put any color with those white dishes, so that it's like a blank canvas. So what I did is I cut out a piece of the pie, just the regular pie, and you can see the imperfections, but it's no big deal because we're going to do this. I think we're going to choose Mr. Squirrel because I think he's just so darn cute. I know you're cute too, Louie, but we're going to go with a squirrel. We like the squirrels. So basically you have your whipped cream already in the star tip. I'm going to bring this a little bit back. so you guys can see, and you can go just as fancy, intricate, but the thing is that star tip is going to do the work for you, and you're going to look like you're a professional pastry chef. And you can literally, like, some people like a little pie with their whipped cream.
Keep going.
Literally
Keep going. Yeah, there we go. That's almost enough.
a little house for Mr. Squirrel. And you're
So
going to nestle Mr.
that?
Squirrel there.
Oh my
And
God,
that's
that looks so good.
I'll
Yeah,
bring-
you know that meme out there with like the pile of whipped cream and then there's supposedly pie underneath it? That's me.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
Oh, check out how cool that is. That
Isn't
is
that
so neat.
cool? And you will never know that the crust was a little imperfect. You'll never know that there was a little burning of the sugars on top. You'll never know. Your guests will never know. I have it on my I Like You plate. This is one of my favorite plates. I just put it on there. It's not very Thanksgiving-y, but I just thought it was cute, the sentiment. So that's it. That's it. So basically make your pie or buy your pie, make your pie. Now I made mine in my glass dish because I happen to have it. If you don't want to do that and you want to throw it out when you're done, get a disposable pie dish. Totally cool with that too. Like I said, you could go buy a what is it? A Mrs. Fields, not Mrs. Fields. What's that pie company that's in the
Marie
freezer?
Calendar.
Pictures or-
Marie Calendar.
You're like, forget this, Lee, I'm not doing it. So you get a Marie Calendar, right? You do all the things. Do the whipped cream. I'm telling you, a container of heavy cream, small or large, depending on how many people, because it makes a lot. I don't even put powdered sugar in my whipped cream anymore because the sweetness is in the pie or the cake or whatever you're doing. Star tip, or you can go ahead and just blub it out of the, you can just put it in a gallon-sized bag. Most people, if you don't have a couple of these star tips lying around, I do recommend. They're like $1 something at the store. Keep them in your junk drawer. Have them for these occasions. They're worth it. They come in different sizes. This is a number, I can't read that. It's a number whatever, but you can get them in different sizes. And I'm telling you, this takes a couple minutes. Like I said, you roll out, you take that piece of, we all know how the Pillsbury dough comes. It comes in that package, right? You want to put that at room temperature, roll it out with a little bit of flour, cookie cutter it. I bake those guys, that little squirrel, in the toaster oven. You literally can bake them in the toaster oven. So for this, you can use a store-bought pie, a piece of Pillsbury crust, cookie cutter of any shape. Like I said, I had some moons and stars lying around. Most people have something. Do a shape, and if you're clever enough, you could do a free form with a knife. Do something fun or something meaningful, and that's it. I mean, I totally doctored up that pie. I totally saved that pie with Mr. Squirrel, so I'm quite proud of him. And I think your guests will really be. Now, what you could do too, you don't have to do it per individual slice if you want to ahead of time. You could do the whipped cream on top, stick it in the refrigerator, let it set, and then put your squirrels on top and cut it like that. So you can do it in a couple different ways, but again, not very expensive, fun. People are going to be very impressed. I'm telling you.
It's very cool. It's very cool. Well, you want to know what else I did? I was
What did you
informed by my nephew on Halloween that he really likes the fun activities. So
Yeah, he wanted more fun activities.
more fun activities, more fun.
For a big hit.
The fun activities were a big hit. So I kind of adjusted and used the same concepts on a couple of them because, you know, we're probably going to be, there's a very high probability we'll be inside depending on the weather. So I didn't plan outdoor games. They can be done outside, but they can also be done inside. So instead of throwing a football, I got ping pong balls. So I'm going to set up a couple bowls on the floor, give the kids a ping pong bowl. If they get it in the bowl, they get a prize. Very, very,
I like
very
that.
simple.
Now,
Ping
you
pong
mentioned-
balls, pick them up at
mentioned in the family feed something about the you know, little kids, they have the plastic food, Sarah. You remember that when you were kids were
Yeah,
little, you know,
yeah.
little plastic food. There was what is that game? Because you were asking for plastic food. I'm curious.
Yes, I was asking for plastic food. It's called No Leftovers. And what you do is you invert a couple solo cups. You put food on the top of the solo cups, and then they throw a little ball at it to knock the food off the cup. And if they knock the food off the cup, they win a prize.
Oh,
Wow.
cute.
that's-
It's very simple. Very simple. You know,
Hey,
simple.
Sarah, I'm dying to know. First and foremost, what time is it? It's at 9:30, 7:30, 9:30,
Yes,
7:30.
9:30.
Who do we have watching us tonight?
Oh, we have Jessica Bruno is out there commenting right now, telling us about.
Hi, Jessica. Happy
Hi, Jessica.
Happy Turkey Month to you.
And they play for money. She's serious at her house.
Oh, they play for
Wow.
money.
They
Oh, I
play
wanna
for
know.
money, yeah.
She needs to
Little
put the
money, but they play
details.
money.
She needs to put
And
the details.
let's see, we also have the Village Bakery in Delaware Water Gap was given 2 thumbs up for a store-bought pies.
Very nice. Yes, please.
And
go
that's
anywhere. It's the Village
Yep.
Bakery. And then you could put Mr. Squirrel on top. And then
Well,
Mr.
I gotta say, not for nothing, Marie Callender makes a pretty decent pie. Like, you know,
They do.
they do. They're frozen pies that you have to bake. So it's like an already cooked.
And then you have this, and then you have the smell.
Right,
You
right,
have the
right,
smell.
right.
The other thing, guys, too, I wanted to say, so when I did bake this pie, I used all store-bought ingredients. It's not like I went and dug up the pumpkin. I'm not doing that. It's not happening. I mean,
Oh, no.
no, it's not happening. So I wanted to prove that you could make something, you know, I think most people are intimidated by going into a Martha Stewart book or whatever, or especially if this is the first time that they're doing it. Maybe they've always gone to Aunt Martha's and Aunt Martha made the pie and they can't go to Aunt Martha this year, but they want to have that experience. So guys, don't be afraid to use those store-bought ingredients. They're there for a reason. Convenience is there for a reason. I mean, maybe spend a little bit more if you can and go up a notch, you know, instead of buying store brand. There's nothing wrong with that. Go to a name brand, that's fine too. Or if you find something on sale or have a coupon.
Mhm.
And I made everything with either generic or store brand ingredients. So not very expensive. And I use the the sweetened condensed version of the recipe. I just made a choice. I just made a choice. I didn't want to measure sugar. I wanted it to just be done I kind of wanted it to be foolproof tonight, but I did, instead of mixing my spices, which I always do, this time I just used a pumpkin pie spice, and there's nothing wrong with that. And this is something that I have in my cupboard year round because I like to put it on my coffee. I like to put it in my coffee. So
Absolutely. Or in a breakfast shake. It's also good.
there's so many different and it's just it keeps really nice and it has everything in it. So if you don't have the wherewithal to go buy, let me see if I can read this: cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, ginger, and cloves. If you're only doing this once a year, this might behoove you to do this. Because like Sarah said last time, your spices can go bad.
Right.
You know what else I do with that? I put it in my vacuum cleaner bag.
To make it smell, yeah.
So that when you're vacuuming, you know, it doesn't,
Yeah.
it puts that smell through the air.
So many uses for pumpkin pie spice. So
Well-
Sarah, Holly talked about cocktails and games. We talked about something to do with your pie. Let's talk about that there stuffing. I want to
The
hear about that stuff.
So, you know, I love the cube.
Is that Pepperidge Farm?
It's the base. This is the Pepperidge Farm, the cube stuffing, and it's with the herbs and spices. So
Very nice.
this is what I use as a base. So I'm going to give you my recipe for it. Sorry. That's somebody calling me while I'm on the phone.
That's okay.
So this is my base. I can also make my own breadcrumbs by getting a loaf of French bread, slicing it up, letting it sit and air dry. So if
Do
you
you
want
recommend only French bread or like a sourdough? Would that work too?
whatever.
Like what?
You know what I saw? You know what I saw? And I didn't buy it, but I saw it at Aldi's. They had box stuffing made with Hawaiian rolls.
Ooh.
How about that?
like
Hawaiian
that.
sweet rolls.
But this is my base recipe
Okay.
for my stuffing. So,
Okay.
you know, I'm going to do it for one bag of stuffing mix. And then if you usually use 2 bags, which I usually use at least 2 bags, then you double it. But you want to take those breadcrumbs, put them in a bowl and put enough water in there so that they kind of soak up some of the moisture. You can either use water or you can use turkey, you know, the bone broth or whatever from the store if you want it to taste more turkey-like or chicken-like or whatever. And then while I'm letting those soak, I use 1 stick of butter. I saute my onions and my celery together, and just until they're soft. Put that in with the breadcrumbs. Then I put in with that 1 large carrot that's grated, and and then I season it with salt and the poultry seasoning, whatever kind you use. I like Bell's seasoning, salt and pepper, and just mix it all together and let it kind of sit so that everything soaks through. And then I stuff my bird, and that's what I do.
And then the
To
rest
feed
of
the
it,
bird
do you,
stuffer.
you stuff the bird. Do you also make like a casserole dish of it, like to have extra?
I-
And how many would you say 1 bag, or you said you do 2? How many people does that serve roundabout? I mean, we know that people go for seconds,
I'm
and
gonna say
some people don't eat it at all.
2 bags, 6 people, probably.
Okay.
1 bag,
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, you
Um,
really want to think about that too. Like when you're doing your shopping, like how many
Right.
people are you serving? And then like in our family, like we're really good because we know like this person doesn't eat anything with this. This person doesn't, that person's not going to eat it. That
Yeah.
person's not going to eat that. We know the kids, they suck air.
Yeah.
I mean, we're lucky if we could feed the kids a roll.
Yeah,
You
if
know what I
they'll
mean?
eat some frozen Stouffer's mac and cheese, it's a miracle.
Right, right.
and-
Or if we have like a tray of French fries or chicken nuggets or something like that. I mean, the kids, we don't usually count the kids on the turkey, the stuffing, not even the desserts, really. They're not pie.
Right.
They
You know,
just eat ice cream.
we have to make sure we always have ice cream and the whipped cream. Of course.
well,
I
with
do
this-
make a 5-pound bag of potatoes. So when I make mashed potatoes
Oh.
for Thanksgiving, I use a full 5-pound.
Well, I
Yeah.
think the sides, I mean, don't you think, Sarah, too? Like you always end up with a lot of meat, but the sides are the things that,
you
it's
know,
like,
I agree with Holly. I use a 5-pound bag of potatoes. And I use the heavy cream in it to
And a
mash it.
whole stick of
don't you
butter.
think
A
people
stick of
really
butter.
love sides? I think
You
that this
know.
is where, I think that people do love turkey and they love ham and their lasagna and everything, but don't you think that this is the holiday where the sides
And then
are like,
my new side that everybody seems to love is Brussels sprouts that I roast with garlic and olive oil. And
yeah,
just
that's how I make my Brussels sprouts. I'm actually thinking about, I just made a cauliflower dish not this last week, the week before, that it's roasted. You actually take mayonnaise and Parmesan cheese, like real good Parmesan cheese, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, parsley, whatever you want to put in it. You wash and slice and lay out your cauliflower, and you spread that mixture over top of it, and you roast it.
yum.
Oh, sweet mother of God. I was
Mhm.
like, this is my new side. And easy to do for a big crowd. Now, it was just me and my husband, but you could very easily part and parcel that out.
Right.
You know, you could make more on a bigger scale. You know, guys, cookie sheets are your best friend, really, for
Yeah,
things
they are.
like that. Because,
They really are.
like Sarah said, for a big crowd, you could lay out your Brussels sprouts, your carrots, your broccoli. You could do your whole vegetable dish on a big cookie sheet, parchment paper, olive oil, mix it all together. You don't even have to have a bowl. You could literally you really just toss those vegetables. Maybe we'll do that next week. Toss the vegetables all on one pan. You can also do pies on a pan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really could do slab pies.
Well, and the other thing that I went out a little bit of shopping this week, and I went to Home Goods, and they have wonderful little baking cups. Like if you don't have like muffin tins and things like that, sometimes when you go to a store like that, they have these things that you can actually use instead. And so they have these really cool little muffin holders that are paper, but they're stiff enough that you could just put them on a cookie sheet, fill them, and bake them
Mhm.
without the actual muffin tin. So
Right. Exactly. And keep in mind
that-
too, you can use just basically anything to make a pie in.
Right.
And you could definitely use anything to make a crisp in, because you don't need to form that pie
Right.
shell in. So
I'm big on the crisp.
like
I'm
an apple crisp, instead of doing
Mhm.
like a plate, like I don't do, because we definitely do pumpkin pie with a crust. We do like some sort of, I do like a cherry crumb or an apple crisp, and those you don't need, or like a galette. You don't even need a pie
Right.
plate for that. You can form that on a thing.
right.
So I think it's definitely, if you don't have some of these things in your arsenal already, you know, and like we always said, I think you can get aluminum cookie sheets. Can't you get aluminum cookie sheets at the dollar store? Just
I think so. Relatively speaking, they have what they call a cake pan, which is like for a sheet cake.
oh,
And I
okay.
think you could basically use that for cookies, but they have so many things there. And
You
check
get
out the
your-
dollar store, get your they have a lot of the little to-go containers, which are great for leftovers. So it's so funny. I saw a thing where it was a long meme about what you need to do to come to if you're coming to my house, this is what you're going to do. And one of them was bring your own Tupperware, because you're not leaving with my Tupperware, is what the lady said. It made me
Right,
really
or like you said, the dollar store, like we talked
so
about
the
last
dollar
week.
store is the
No,
great
guys,
solution.
don't forget your paper towels, your paper towels, your aluminum foil, your plastic wrap, and if your Tupperware or your glass storage is under par, or you don't feel like, you can always go to the dollar store and get the disposable stuff, and then you're not feeling bad if somebody walks off with it, or if you say, hey,
Right.
you want to take home some turkey and potatoes or whatever, or some pie, you have those, and they're inexpensive. I think they're in a pack of 3, I think, for $1.
Yep.
Yeah, 3 or
Yep.
4, and it's really good. And if you're taking something to somebody's house, it is completely okay to bring it in a throwaway aluminum tin. I don't care who you are or where you're going.
That's
That way, there's not an obligation to get the dishes done before you leave.
Mhm.
And if the dishes aren't done and they want to stick that whole container in their fridge and deal with it tomorrow, they can. It makes it just really, really simple for your hostess to deal with leftovers. Because, when you're done with a party, we talked a lot about being in the party. When you're done with the party, there's a huge mess. There just is.
Absolutely.
We have 25 people in our family. When we have 25 people swoop into my little house, we have a party, they swoop out, and then there's a ton of garbage. There is a ton of leftovers to shove in my fridge, and there's a lot of cleaning to do. So I try to make it so that I don't lose my mind and do some of the stuff the next day. So like the food, I usually, if I can get it in the fridge, I get it in the fridge, and I deal with either freezing it or portioning it out for lunches the next day. So all I'm really doing that night is getting the garbage collected. So, make it easier for your hostess and use a throwaway tin.
And don't forget your hostess gift. But the other thing I wanted to say about the stuffing is that's a great base stuffing recipe, because you can add sausage, you can chop up apples and cranberries, and make
Walnuts, yeah.
stuffing. There are so many things that you can do, but if this is your base stuffing,
Your baseline.
it's
Now, if
really
you're going to do a fruity stuffing, maybe don't do the herb. You can also buy those breadcrumbs plain, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although, I don't know, cranberries and herbs kind of sound, I like a savory apple dish. I make a pork dish with apples in it. I mean, I put herbs in that too.
And I'm one of those weird people that fruit goes over here and your dinner goes over here.
Yep.
And they should not meet with each
But
other. Like,
I love this stuffing recipe just as it is, because it picks up all the flavors of the
right.
and it goes well with all of your side dishes. So there's nothing like no flavor that's fighting with another one.
Well, Jessica's telling us what she's doing. She has 15 people and she needs 15 pounds of potatoes.
Wow.
Heavy potato. Well, we balance it out with
10 pounds.
potatoes.
10 pounds of potatoes for 15 people. And she's also saying that ShopRite has aluminum tins, 30 for $5.99.
Well, there you go. There'll be a run on aluminum tins to ShopRite tomorrow. They'll all be done. They also have the 25. I should have picked up a can of those sweet potatoes, those canned sweet potatoes that we were talking about last week. I actually went and looked to see if they had them, and sure enough that they did.
Bruce's.
I love that this time of year in a grocery store, though, because all the nice, the things we talked about last year, the familiar things, or last week, the familiar things, like stovetop stuffing, or like you said, the bag of Pepperidge Farm. It's like, these things a mile away. You know what I mean? And you don't smell them. You really honestly can almost smell them when you look at them. You have a bodily reaction to it.
Well, we're making the stuff that our great grandmas made, and that's, we started going to this house that our great grandmother lived in to have Thanksgiving, and now we're going to the house to have Thanksgiving with our mom, and it's pretty cool.
And it's pretty close to a traditional Thanksgiving, and then there's like a few twists and things like that.
Don't go completely crazy, but we have added a couple things. I mean, we do the dip, the very, very important dip.
The dip.
I make the dip.
Very important.
It's called it's the dip.
The dip.
It's so special. The dip has been requested against this year, so I'll be making the dip. And if you want to hear about the dip, I can tell you about it. But it's
Your,
really easy to make and everybody loves it. And
your
then,
mom requested that I make an adult macaroni and cheese and bring it just because she loves it. And I guess all the guys love the macaroni and cheese. And so it leaves the Stouffer's macaroni and cheese for the kids.
well,
Yeah,
I
the
was
kids are
thinking,
not very exotic eaters. They're not
Yeah,
exotic eaters yet.
Yep.
Not yet, anyway. That's
Nope.
okay.
no.
And then to balance out the white potatoes, I like to bring, and I just simply roast a couple of sweet potatoes in aluminum foil with olive oil, sea salt, that's it. And then people can put their own butter on it or not, or whatever. I do like the stuff with them. I'm not really a sweet tooth person, but every once in a while I'll have the potatoes with the marshmallow on top. If it's there, I'll eat it. We don't traditionally do that. We don't really do green bean casserole.
No.
There's some things
That's
that
my husband's bag.
they have come in and come out. We used to do, I used to do a pearl onion and cheese casserole. This year, I think I might do that cauliflower dish that I was telling you guys about. Next week, I think we'll talk about one pan veggie dishes that we could do. And then also remember, guys, not everybody is going to be buying a whole turkey.
Right.
Because it's just two people and maybe they don't have the freezer space. This is all based on, having the space. But then again, I made this pumpkin pie in a bowl with a hand mixer and I literally made it in my toaster oven. I didn't even have to turn on the big oven. If you have these, you'll be amazed what these little appliances in your house can accomplish. If you have an air fryer, and it's just the two of you or a very small amount of people. Throw your dinner on a cookie sheet with some. If you don't have to have parchment paper, you could do it with aluminum foil. It's amazing.
For next week, then I'll share.
I think we also next week we will talk about what you can do with your leftovers, because there's a lot of really interesting things that you can do after the party with all that turkey. Hey, you thought everybody was going to go to town on the turkey and they didn't. You wind up with half a turkey left.
You can have
What can we
turkey
do? So we'll talk
chili,
about that.
turkey soup, turkey pot pie,
turkey tetrazzini.
Turkey. So what is turkey tetrazzini? I don't even know what that is. That's always, what is turkey tetrazzini? And for God's sake, what is chicken fricassee? Because I have no idea.
Tetrazzini is just a cream sauce with mushrooms.
Oh, okay. So I have to just call it turkey with cream
over
sauce.
like noodles of some sort.
Oh, is it over noodles? Okay.
Yeah, it's real 1950s.
All
like,
right.
1950s.
Turkey pot pie. Turkey pot pie is nice.
Is
So
like,
I have a challenge for us for Thanksgiving this year that I think we need to do.
okay.
What's that?
I think we need to do Sarah's pear situation.
I really don't want to, and I'm not playing. That's disgusting.
Everybody has to take a bite.
Love mayo, love pears. I'll even make a pear crumb apple. That's really good too. If you want to make your apple crumb fun or your apple pie, throw a couple pears in. Ooh.
Or make there is one savory fruit dish I do like. You have made a pear dish, a pear thing. What is it? A tort?
A galette?
Is it a galette? And didn't you make it savory with cheese or something?
That was no. That was a pear, and I think it was gorgonzola or blue cheese. It was a tart.
It was a tart.
It was in a tart shell.
It was
I made that for
fabulous.
Easter. Yeah, and it had onions and shallots and things like that.
Okay, so that's my one and only fruit and savory thing I've ever liked, is that thing that she made. But Sarah, tell everybody about your pear thing, because they didn't hear about it.
No, there's no need to talk about it.
You got to do the pear thing, because I think that it might actually taste good, and I think that is
why on our God's green earth would you
It
use
is
that?
like
mayo? I want to know from the audience.
people eat it all the time. It has to have a purpose. Like, it had to come from somewhere.
Mom and Sarah grew up in an era where those things would have been served on the table. I bet you not one time did Aunt June or Nana Florence or Grandma or Nana Agnes have that on the table. I bet you nobody in this family. Don't tell me that it's all the time, because I bet you they never did it. I bet you they didn't.
No, my mom did this thing.
You did pears and mayonnaise?
Yep.
I don't believe you.
And she also did asparagus and mayonnaise.
Asparagus and mayonnaise, you know what? Because if you think about it, a hollandaise sauce is not that far from a mayonnaise.
Yeah, it's got eggs in it.
So that I'm okay with, just like I'm okay with putting it over the cauliflower.
Holly, the way that they would serve it is they take a leaf of lettuce, put a pear half
From a can,
from a can,
from a
face,
can.
you know,
Okay.
you would put a dollop of mayonnaise on it with sharp cheese over it and a maraschino cherry on it.
Okay, you lost me again at the maraschino cherry. I can accept the lettuce, I can accept the pear, I can accept the pears. And you put a maraschino cherry on top of my mayonnaise, and you're dead to me. You're dead. And I don't believe that Aunt June made this. I want pictorial proof. I want somewhere. I want documentation.
Crackers.
Sarah, you need to get these ingredients and we need to do it.
Okay.
Oh,
We need to do it.
Okay.
I mean, mayonnaise, cheddar cheese, yes. Pear,
And
yes.
I will
Lettuce,
videotape
okay.
it
Okay.
No maraschino cherries anywhere near cheese.
on
There's
the
just
top.
things.
That's what
Although,
makes it
you know,
special.
people like cheddar cheese on their apple pie.
Yeah,
They-
I'm
they-
telling you, there is something in why this develops that
It's-
made it probably
I
makes it
actually-
appeal.
I'm going to tell you why it
like it.
developed. I'm going to tell you because some 1940s or 50s housewife was like, oh, F-U-C-K, my husband's bringing home those dopey people he works with. What am I going to do? And now because and then back then they had the cans of everything because it was post-war.
It
So
They used
Yeah.
it.
that was a desperate move by some real desperate housewife.
I
And
bet
it
you
should
it
have
wasn't.
never been
I bet you
documented.
it was a delicacy. Let's see.
I
Let's
actually
see.
like the flavor of it.
Yikes, yikes, yikes.
I'm
I
telling
mean,
you.
that's like putting things in aspic or in like the jello, you know, like things that don't belong in jello. Mayo, gefilte, like fish from a jar or anything savory. That would be making like a jello mold. I think it's just like, you know what? I don't know what I'm going to make tonight.
Makes me think of Christmas vacation with the cat food in the Jello mold.
Oh my God, that is so funny when that is funny. And the box was leaking. And like,
Yep.
and
I'm
it
sorry.
tasted like-
I'm sorry to tell everybody this, but the pear salad originated in the South in 1899.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, well,
Yep, 1899. And it
No,
was served in upscale restaurants.
so
There you
how
go.
much mayonnaise are we talking?
It
Like
looks like a dollop.
Yeah.
A
A dollop.
A hole. To fill
In
the
the
hole.
hole.
The pit, to
Mhm.
fill the hole the pit makes. I'm going to share a picture in the comments because it's here. And
That sounds absolutely wretched to me.
Yep.
And I'm not trying it. I'm not that daring with my food, but you lost me at the maraschino cherry. Now,
and
do you
it's
cook?
very specifically, they're saying that you take the pear straight out of the can. You don't do anything to it. So
So you
That's
do
right.
not cook this or
No.
saute this or put
No.
liqueur or any kind?
no
of-
roasting. No, it
No
is.
pear liqueur or
Yeah.
I
Nothing.
think I might have to take a shot after I try that. That's some.
Oh, mom's saying she's right. Pears don't have pits. They have seeds in the middle. So they use a cord to take the seeds out. So it's
Oh,
the,
Right.
thanks,
the
Mom.
space. Thank you,
Thanks, Mom.
mother, for correcting
Hey,
me.
Mom, let us know what's your favorite side. What's your favorite part of Thanksgiving? What's your favorite dish of all time at Thanksgiving? And I know it's not no pear with mayonnaise, cheese, and
I know it's not turkey either because
I
she's
know it's not
cooking it.
turkey. No, I want to know. She
Mm-mm.
likes a little bit of
I'm
everything.
very
I know she
excited that
likes
you're
dessert.
telling me that she's making ham. I'm very
Yes.
excited about
Well,
ham.
because she gets turkey and ham points. She gets both. She has
Yeah.
a lot of points. I mean, do it. You know what I mean? And then you make sandwiches with it. You know, it depends on what your lifestyle is. Again, it all comes down to what kind of storage do you have. You know, not everybody has a chest freezer, or you know, you have to kind of plan. And then if you know your people will take leftovers, you know, I always like it because then Jeff, my husband, can have stuff for
Right.
like
Right.
because he typically has to work then like that Saturday after things, and then he has turkey and stuffing and he can heat it up. He can
Oh, I
heat
love
up-
turkey sandwiches
what's
with
the
mayonnaise,
matter?
Her
lettuce. and
favorite
good
food. Her favorite food is the dip.
Oh, the dip.
The
Okay,
dip.
now you have to tell everybody what the dip is.
The dip is just a really simple roasted artichoke warm dip. So you take jars of artichoke hearts, you chop them really fine, you put them in a nice pan you can roast in the oven, and you mix it with our favorite food tonight, mayonnaise, mozzarella cheese,
What is
garlic,
that mozzarella?
mozzarella, lots of it, about a cup, a
There, I
little
did not know that.
and Parmesan cheese. And you mix it all into a glob and you bake it in the oven. And it's great with crackers, toasted bread. You can
Oh gosh, a
put a
vegetable,
sandal
an
in there
olive,
and eat that, and it's
your
good.
fingers,
Your fingers,
your finger. No,
shoes,
I'm just kidding.
anything.
Yeah.
anything.
And
yeah.
you keep that warm, right? You put that
You
in some
keep it
sort of
warm. Yeah. I have this great little dish that I got from Wolfgang
chafing
Puck.
dish thing. That yeah.
It has a little candle underneath it, and it keeps it.
Yeah, and it kind of keeps it warm, but it also forms like a little crust.
It gets crusty on the top.
Crusty,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
really good.
it's really good.
The dip is the dip, and I really don't measure it, so I can't tell you
Right.
what the
Like,
measurements are. I can tell you there's 2 cans of artichokes in there.
Amalgamation of stuff that tastes
Stuff.
really good
Yeah,
together.
I kind of.
Unlike mayonnaise and pears.
Yes.
Unlike mayonnaise and pears, you know, those things. But I did not know that you put mozzarella cheese in there. I knew you put the Parmesan cheese in there. I don't know what I thought, but oh
Yep.
my God, it's so good.
Yep.
It's
The
so good. And it's
consistency
really the
gets a
only
little bit-
appetizer besides the relish dish.
Right. Well, it's
Honestly.
because you could really like and it's really funny too because we bring it and we put the dip out.
Stand
Like I
over
bring
it.
it cold, so I have
Kind
to
of like
throw it
just
into my
stand over the dip.
I had to throw it in my mom's oven for a little bit with the turkey,
Yeah.
and then I pull it out, and then everybody stands around it at the table
Stand around the dip.
eating the dip.
Standing
Yeah.
around the dip.
So I'm so happy.
I thought cream cheese was in there for some reason. I don't know why.
No cream cheese.
Yeah.
Nope. It needs the harder cheeses, I think, to get the good consistency. Not that
Wow.
mozzarella is hard, but you know,
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to all those things.
and Parmesan brings you the salt, so it makes it like a salty.
Yeah. Yeah. Parmesan does make things salty. It's true.
Yeah.
That's why I like that roasted vegetable dish that I was telling you guys about. I mean, some people don't like the idea of the mayonnaise with the cheese, and I get that. But this is a holiday, so it's okay.
And Mom also said her other favorite thing is she's never been able to replicate is our Big Nana's Hawaiian sweetbread.
Yeah.
Oh,
We've
Well-
never gotten quite the right. We've had it. We bought it. We've bought it at bakeries.
I think made it in a bread maker
baked
once.
it. We've
I'll
done
tell
it. Bread. It's
other
never quite right.
that I make with mayonnaise,
What?
chocolate cake.
Oh yeah, chocolate cake is big in
Makes it
baking.
really,
Yeah. It makes it moist. Yeah, that's a very old baking
yep.
secret that you could put in just about anything when you bake. It keeps it, especially chocolate cake, because chocolate cake has a tendency to dry.
Mom said the dip is so good it would even be good with pears.
Oh my God, the pears with the mayonnaise. You people freaking me out.
I know it's hard to
I'm never
believe, but
going to accept it. I don't
But
accept it.
we have used up our entire hour making fun of pears and
Here, I
mayonnaise.
just want to case people, I just want to show Mr. Squirrel again.
Yep.
Cute.
Hello.
The
This
pie.
is how you fix the pie, no matter what goes on, or you buy store-bought or from a local bakery, and you put your whipped cream and you make
You just
homemade
sit
whipped
up a little
cream,
bit.
and then you make your little thing, and then people will flip out over this. Isn't that special? Oh, and now my phone is ringing. I hope it's not my mother calling to yell. It's not. So I just wanted to show that one more time. So
Yeah.
enjoy your pie.
So we will be back next Tuesday, and we're going to talk a little bit about. I think we're going to go into what Mom's. Oh, she says basically you have a squirrel pie.
I have a squirrel pie.
Squirrel pie. It's
You
pumpkin
don't have
pie
to
with a
use-
squirrel
I just
cookie on
happen
it.
to have, listen, we love our squirrels here on Chipperfield Drive, but I just happen to have a squirrel cookie cutter of all things. You literally can use any kind of cookie cutter you want. If you have a family cookie cutter favorite, use that. It does not have to be Thanksgiving related. I just happened to do that because I thought it was funny. Yes, I have squirrel pie, Mom. So don't be jealous of my squirrel cookie cutter.
We are going to be back next Tuesday, and it will be Thanksgiving week, and I think we're going to talk a little bit about what we're thankful for and what makes us happy. And
I'm thankful for this pie.
she's thankful she has a pie. We're gonna have a fun holiday week next week. Everybody stay safe and warm here. If you're here in the Poconos, if you're somewhere hot, stay cool. We
I
hope
see a
everybody.
puppy. I'm thankful for that puppy face.
Yeah, we hope everybody has a great week. We know that it's time to make sure we're staying safe again. So do that. And we will see you next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. for Something to Say. We want to thank our sponsor, brokersrealty.com. Make sure you check them out if you want to buy, sell, rent, or auction off your property. They are available all the time at brokersrealty.com, and they bring us to you every week. Everybody, have a great night.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.